Hi everybody, this is I Heart Black Business. We are going through all of Iowa City, finding the black-owned businesses in the area and getting to know their owners. Today we are at the Dream Center. It is a nonprofit organization servicing the families and the youth of Iowa City. The owner of the Dream Center is none other than Fred Newell. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. So how did you go about actually establishing your nonprofit?
I worked with the University of Iowa when I was doing a lot of the stuff, so it was they took on a lot of the responsibility to make sure it was accurate information. I think the most difficult part was actually getting a 501c3 from the federal government, because you had to have years of paperwork that was in order, that I didn't even know certain data that I was supposed to be keeping. So it took some time to be able to figure out how to get the information that they wanted from an accurate standpoint. So that process it took some time. So we started in 2012. We didn't become an actual 501c3 until 2016.
Wow.
But we did have a fiscal agent from 2012 to 16, and I didn't even know that I needed to do the 501c3 myself. I just thought I was good. But that's also how I just wasn't knowledgeable about what was necessary.
Right.
And then once I got a letter from the IRS saying, all right, you've been a nonprofit all this time, we need you to complete this information now. We jumped on it and got it done.
Nice. So it's nice that you had help with that too.
Absolutely.
One of the most pressing questions that I hear most of the time is, how does a nonprofit organization make money?
Well, you don't make money. So one of the things that I try to tell people all the time when they say, well, I want a nonprofit, I ask, what's your reason for that?
Right.
Because a lot of it takes, you gotta have grant writing skills. If you don't have that, you don't have a really effective nonprofit. You gotta have fundraising skills. You gotta have people skills. You gotta have connections. And you have to sacrifice so much. I don't think people understand, like, our first 2 years of being open, I didn't take any money as a pay whatsoever. And then also the money in which you get, it also has to go back into the actual program.
Right.
So it doesn't go into your pocket. So I try to tell people, and they think that this is a black-owned business, is a black-owned nonprofit that does for our families. But this is not profitable for me. And I tell people, like, I spend more of my personal money as well, because once you get an attachment to these families and kids, they almost become like a part of your family, in a way that if the grant money isn't there, if the fundraising isn't there, I'm like, all right, I ain't gonna let you not eat. So
Right.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do. And then I also have the most amazing wife in the world, who she is amazing. But she allows for me to be able to work as hard as I work, because the Dream Center isn't my only source of income. But I have other jobs, so that if things are not being taken care of here, my wife and I just say, all right, we'll donate ourselves.
Nice. And that's the importance of knowing exactly why you're choosing to be a nonprofit.
Correct.
For any business, you need to know why you're trying to go into business in the first place.
Correct.
It can't always be to make money.
Because people think people gonna you can write it off. Well, okay, you gotta first find people who has money to do those things, as well as you need to make sure that, I believe in the nonprofit business, that you really have to have a heart for what it is you're trying to do. Because there'll be a lot of days that it becomes lonely. And I think that's with any business owner, but I think the nonprofit world is a lot different.
Right. I think it takes a lot more heart and a lot more drive. You have to really be determined in order to choose to be a nonprofit organization.
Absolutely.
Because it does require a lot more sacrifice than a regular corporation.
Right.
So did you have any mentors from the University of Iowa while you were trying to get your business together?
Absolutely. So, everybody know, or anybody that has interviewed me, I'm always talking about Professor Sarah Sanders. She is like my rock. As a student, I was at a point that I just wanted to give up. And I actually was withdrawn from all of my classes my sophomore year. I had got some tragic news about my little brother. And the day, she was the last teacher I needed to get the drop slip signed for.
Right.
And as I was pulling the drop slip out, she was telling me how awesome of a student I was, how she was paying attention to me in class. She think I'll be a great social worker one day.
Wow.
So in that moment, I didn't have the courage to say, you know what, I need you to sign this slip so I can drop out. And from that day, she literally has been by my side. Like, it's so many things I could say. Like, and I don't even like talking about it because I don't want to share the tip. But I mean, she really helped me to change my life. Like, to the point, like, if I needed anything, like, to this day, like, if I call right now, if she was teaching a class and if she saw me calling, I'm sure she'll step out of class to pick the phone up.
Nice.
So, but she is one of the most amazing people in the world to me, and held me accountable, because, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I did try to take shortcuts as a student, but she really was one who kind of pushed me. And then I had one other professor at the University of Iowa, Modi A. Hoskins, who's also a social work professional, and he really, really, like, pushed me, like, to be great. And to this day, you know, he continue to call, ask how am I doing, when I'm coming back to school. So those two individuals really mean a lot to me.
Do you think you would have been able to make this business happen as successfully without them helping you?
Nope, absolutely not. And even, like, after the business got started, I went down to lunch with both of them, thanked them, told them exactly what it is I was doing, and they also sent students to intern over here. So no, I don't think so. I wouldn't even be here, honestly. I would definitely went back home.
It's great. I think a lot of people who start businesses or think that they want to start a business should look for a mentor to help them give guidance to, because you have to have a lot of knowledge, and of course most people who become entrepreneurs aren't coming from a family of entrepreneurs. Correct. So a lot of things that you're learning on your own. I think with a mentor helping you out, you can avoid a lot of mistakes, and again, having somebody to hold you accountable, because it's easy when you're by yourself to fall off and be like, oh, maybe I do it later, or end up missing something, or again, like you said, trying to cut corners or take shortcuts.
Right. There's not many shortcuts you can take.
Right. So what do you think has been the most difficult time of being the owner of a nonprofit?
The most difficult? Man, I would say the most difficult has been, like, having to feel like you're in competition with other individuals in our community. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm not in competition, but it just comes off as, like, people try to pit other blacks against each other. We have some amazing organizations here. But even, like, our partnerships and the way we partner, it's like we do it, but it can be more effective if it didn't feel like our community wanted us to be competitors. Right. And one of the things I would tell people, and I said I'm going to start saying this out loud, is if you support me, then you have to support the others. Because the others we're not doing the same exact thing. Like, I'm specializing more so on the mentorship, leadership part. There's others that specialize in all other things. And kids need all of us.
Right.
So my hope is one day that, you know, whether it's at the Dream Center or at the Fifth Ward Saints or at Journey Above Poverty or the Jones Academy of Performing Arts or wherever, like, I hope one day that we all can be under the same roof, because I just feel like the more individuals you have working towards a cause, the greater impact that you can have in your community. And the other most difficult part has just been, you know, figuring out, like, where is the money for these type of programs. And then another thing I would tell you, like, people get money to serve black kids, but then when I see those programs not serving black kids, that's probably the most difficult thing. Because I think our community know that, you know, there's kids within our community, and not just black kids. There's tons of at-risk kids who our government gives funding for. But then when I see programs that get that money and not serving those type of kids, it's like, all right, that's the most difficult part.
Right. And going back to, you know, partnering with other businesses and other nonprofits and feeling like there's some type of competition, I think it's important for people to remember that these businesses were started because that owner felt that there was a need that needed to be met in the community. And each owner feels that there's a different need that needs to be met, so there are serving different purposes.
Correct.
If, I mean, another organization already existed and then they created theirs later, that means they're not trying to do the same thing as this person. They're trying to do something that's different. So what do you think is the greatest experience or the most rewarding that you had?
That's a tough question. I've had tons of great experience.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest I would probably say is just being able to see my first group of boys to graduate high school, and to see that many of them are doing well. Many are still in college now. Two work at a local car dealership, selling cars. Another one is a mechanic now.
Nice.
I think that has been my greatest. And also to know that I would say that I've served at least 150 plus boys. And out of those 150, only 2 of them have gotten a prison sentence. So to me, that's my greatest.
Yeah.
Like 148 of those boys, and I'm sure it's probably more than that, are doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Even Marquise was one of my original boys, and he's one of the first young men to be an entrepreneur within our community, and that's doing it big.
Right.
And I have other boys just like him. They just haven't stepped out on faith to do it, but he's out here doing it.
Right.
I'm so
being
proud of him.
successful and growing and
Correct.
wow.
And he's gonna be a millionaire by the time he's 25.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps speaking into an existence. I believe it's gonna happen. He was one of the first originals in our group as well. So that's like my greatest, is just seeing them all doing well for themselves and their family.
So what advice would you have for people thinking about starting their own business?
The first thing I would say is find a team of individuals that you can trust. And even what I mean by that is find people that would tell you no to.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where I kind of failed at in the beginning. I had a whole bunch of people that's like, all right, yeah. Saying yes to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And saying yes to everything put me in a situation where I was lonely. Like, because all these people say yes, but when they get down to the actual work, the yes became, yeah, you're doing it, or yes, you're doing it. So find a team of people that will, really support you, hold you accountable, ask the tough questions. I would even put people on my team that think differently than me, so that I can have people that, I'm looking from all angles. Because at first when I started, I had just people that was just yes. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to a point I was like, I'm tired. So just building an effective team around you. And then also be knowledgeable about what it is you're trying to do.
Right.
Because I think lots of people want to jump into business, but they're not really knowledgeable about what it is that they're trying to do. So do your research, do your homework. And then the last piece of advice is just have faith in yourself. Because there will be days where others don't have faith. But just remember why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. All great pieces of advice.
I would just say, starting September 1st, the Dream Center will be relaunching a lot of our programs. So check out our website. We're going to have commercials. We're going to put out flyers. And then sometime in the fall, we will do a showcase of all the things we're doing here at the Dream Center. So we would love for our community to come learn who we are. And we also will have our community partners here as well, because we don't want you to just know about the Dream Center. We want you to know about all the community organizations that are looking to help strengthen families, change lives, and restore hope.
And there you have it. We are here at the Dream Center in Iowa City with Fred. Thank you so much.
Thank you.